Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Hachaanakah, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Hachaanakah. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and war like apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshabakatam. Shalom to all the Akim that made it here to the feast. To Shema Alatam Bashim Yahshabakatam, to the sisters that made it here and are able to tune in to this feast. This is the feast of dedication, also the feast of Hachaanakah. And what that dedication means is the dedication of the second temple, which was in Jerusalem, after the Maccabees had brought it back from King his name was King Antiochus IV, who came in and desecrated our temple. We brought it back. We'll be getting into chapter 1, verse 1. So this starts off, this is the beginning of the Maccabees, but this starts off already where the children of Israel were already turning to wickedness. But that started with wicked men, but it started with the king that caused conquest. Now, are y'all familiar with Alexander the Great? What they say in the history books, and really he was just a conqueror that came around from Europe all the way to the Mediterranean, from the Middle East all the way down to Africa, but he conquered the whole land. And this is where we played a role in it. All right. This is Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim. So, who is Alexander, the son of Philip? He is a conqueror. At that time, he was known for going around. He was on a conquest to conquer a bunch of land for his kingdom. So, of course, when you're wondering, you're asking, who's a Macedonian? Let's not get confused with that. A Macedonian is a Greek. This later became a Greek, but they were first known as a Macedonian. Then they were known as a Seleucid. So I'm going to keep on going with this. Had smitten Darius, king of Persia, and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So there goes that word Greece, but also the king of Persia at that time. So after the book of Daniel, so after Daniel had brought back the children of Israel back into the land of Jerusalem, so I'd say 2 or 3 kings later, that king of Babylon was slain by this conqueror, Alexander. So when he came in, it started to change. We started to have wicked men, wicked women within our community, within the kingdom of Jerusalem. So this was already starting to play a role already. All right. Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. So this king not only was conquering, but he was also slaying other kings and ruling over their land. So it's kind of like he was putting in checkpoints of where he went. He also passed down by Jerusalem, which is our people. And not much was saying, but they did say that he came in and did conquer it. So he was conquering from all the way from the east to the west. All right. Verse 3, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him. So it says in the history books, Hachaanakah. So it says the earth was quiet before him. So you already know in the history books when it talks about Alexander, where he went, it was not much from the enemies that they were able to tell through history. But of course, they say the victor gets to tell, history. So when he conquered lands, of course, no one was able to fight back against them, but he took the spoils of that land including, other lands like as in Babylon, as in Egypt, as in, Greco-Roman, which would, of course, be in the future Rome at that time. So not only was he conquesting, but he was also taking spoils of war. And he would share this amongst his people, his generals. His generals will play a role in the further chapters I'm going to read up. Read chapter 4. Read verse 4.
Sir. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 4. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him.
Okay. So not only did he rule those countries, but he had set up fake leaders, as in like puppets, to rule over them, to have control. So this king, he was he was coordinating, he was planning carefully to make sure those kingdoms that he had conquered wouldn't fall to other kingdoms or wouldn't fall to corruption. So, of course, Alexander wasn't only a conqueror, but he was a very careful planner. He was going around conquering countries and then planting fake puppets, as in like, fake leaders in them to keep them in line. Keep going.
Verse 5. And after these things, he fell sick.
And after these, go ahead, keep going. Slide.
And perceived that he should die.
So, of course, in the history books, they say he died of some unknown illness. So, of course, he was conquering lands so much, as he got older, as the age went by, he started to get sick. So this is when the generals start to play a role within. So the generals, of course, were on his side as he was conquering lands. So as he was getting sick, they were preparing, to set up his will. Keep going.
Verse 6. Wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable.
Okay, stop right there. So he called his servants. Now these servants would be the generals. So he called them up. So he was getting ready to give them his will. So keep going.
Such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth.
Okay, so these generals had conquered lands and have ruled with him since he was young. So it even says in the history books, of course, he had some friends. He had some generals with him for a while as he was conquering. So they were with him by his side. Keep going.
And parted his kingdom among them
while
he was yet alive.
Okay, so he was giving his will to his generals. He had told them, take up the land that I had conquered and split them up against you guys. Keep going.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Okay, so he died and he reigned for over 12 years. So as in his adult age, of course, after he reigned and conquered all those lands, for 12 years he lived and then he died. But before he died, he gave his will. He gave his land that he conquered to 4 of his generals to split up amongst themselves. Of course, these future countries would be, of course, at that time, Rome, Greece, would be Persia, and then it would be the 4th one. I think it was Apartheid, if I may say that's what it is. Slovakia. Keep going.
Verse 8. And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
So, of course, each general, they call them servants, but what they really were generals of Alexander. So each general had the respective land that they wanted to rule. This is when the Seleucids played a role in our story. Keep going.
Verse 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Now, of course, after they conquered the land, now they had their land of their own, evil started to spread. They were doing unholy things. They were worshiping other gods. They were turning other lands where people were in them to convert to their gods. That included the Greeks, which would soon be the Macedonians. You going?
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphas.
Okay, stop right there. Say that word. What's his name?
Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
Okay. What that word is translated to is Antiochus, surname, and say that word.
Epiphanes.
Now, there's another word to that. Who wants to give me an example? What does that word mean? Officer Maya? Yes.
Like some type of similarities or something?
No, it's like a meaning. What is the meaning? What is the word of his meaning? Is yes.
Salak, sir. Does it mean like when you get an idea?
No, is like his word, his name. Antiochus, surname, is kind of like nickname. It's like, you know, when someone gives you a nickname, but it has a meaning to it. So it says Antiochus, surname Epiphanes. So what does that mean? Anybody want to give me want to get an example? Officer Ura?
Never heard of the difference. Never heard of the word is Greek words. I don't know what it means.
Hachaanakah. So it is a Greek word. But of course, they called him by many other names. This king was known to be, you know, a narcissist, you know, an egotistical king. You know, he boasts about himself. So this was already a red flag within Antiochus, within the Macedonian. Keep going.
Salakia. Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king, who had been a hostage at Rome.
Okay, so he was a hostage at Rome at that time. Before Antiochus IV ruled, Antiochus III was ruling in that land at that time. So, of course, his son was captured. Keep going.
Salakia, sir. Son of Antiochus, the king, who had been hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Okay, so the Antiochus III was ruling his kingdom, and of course he known his son was captured in Rome, so he didn't do anything about it until later on, before he's getting ready to die. So it says later on, after they freed his son, he was coming back. Of course, the third king, he died. Keep going. On verse 11, sir.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
Okay, now this is when these wicked men played a role in us losing our identity, and us having these Greeks come in and change our identity, you know, confusing our people. So these wicked men, of course, you know, wicked men have existed for a long time within, you know, the Black community, within Hispanic community, within the Native American Indian community. There's wickedness all over this earth. You know, there are some wicked men that come in to change our people's mind and turn us away for what's important. Keep going.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Okay,
that
stop
are round
right
about us.
Stop right there. Okay, so he said, let us go and make a covenant with the heathens. So these wicked men didn't want to do the laws and statute commandments. They wanted to do the other laws of other gods. They wanted to do things with the Greeks. They wanted to do the Greeks' ways. They wanted to do their holidays. They wanted to celebrate, you know, their marriage, you know, their, you know, everything. They wanted to do their stuff instead of staying close to the statutes, the laws, and the commandments, you know. So these wicked men would purposely go out to the king and would do, you know, these defiled things with them, and then come back disappointed that they have to come back to their land. So this is where it starts, when they start to manipulate our people. Keep going.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Okay. He says, so say that one more time.
But since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
So they had much sorrow. So they were pretty mad that, you know, they had to leave those people and come back to the land of Israel. Of course, knowing that the laws there were very strict. You know, God had set these laws down to make sure we are a holy people, to set us apart from these heathen nations. So when these men came back, they were more disappointed because they know that the laws require them not to associate themselves with Greeks, to associate themselves with Romans, with all the other folks, because you do, then you start indulging in their ways, like sinning. So keep going.
Verse 12. So this device pleased them well.
Go ahead.
Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Okay, so this device pleased them. So there were some wicked people within the children of Israel with these wicked men, and some of them would spread the word. You know, let's do what the Greeks do, because what they do, we like it. And there were still more of us, of course. While where's wickedness within the community, there's always going to be a few that will decline it. So there were these wicked men that were very pleased with what King Antiochus and his people does, and they want to do what they do. So they seek permission from the king to do so. Keep going.
Verse 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
Okay, so this was another red flag already. Now that we want to do what the Greeks do, now we start copying them. So it's kind of like us trying to seek approval in America. We do what the white man does, you know. So we want to be in the military, so we join in their military, or we want to do what they do in their parties, so we start doing parties as well. So these are already signs. What they said a place of exercise being like an Olympics, you know, what we have today. But instead, what they do in the Greeks, they do exercise naked. So they wanted to do the same thing that they do. So they had added a place of exercise within the children, within Jerusalem, within the children of Israel. Salakia. Keep going.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised.
And made themselves uncircumcised. So not only were they adding places, or they adding sports from the Greeks within Jerusalem, but they were also not circumcising their children. So they were slowly starting to convert themselves to Greeks. So this was already a device that these wicked men were placing upon the children of Israel. So to slowly turn these people to assimilate with the Greeks. Of course, the Greeks have already conquered from Egypt all the way up to the Middle East. So the best thing they could do is either coexist with them or there'd be a problem. But these wicked men, they wanted to convert the children of Israel with the Greeks. So not only were we trying to join exercises with them, you know, get naked and go into sports, but they were also telling our women, don't circumcise the children. Keep going.
And forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
And were sold to do mischief. Read that verse again.
Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
Stop right there. And forsook the holy covenant. So not only were they not circumcising themselves, but they forsook the holy covenant, like forgetting the Sabbath days, forgetting the holy days. They were forgetting the laws. So slowly and gradually, not only were they joining themselves among them and telling the children, you know, not to be circumcised, but also forgetting the laws. Keep going.
And forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen.
So now they want to join themselves within the heathens. So now that they do all these things, they feel like they're Greeks. So now they join themselves, assimilate themselves with the Greeks. Keep going.
And were sold to do mischief.
And they went out and do mischief. So without the laws to keep them in line, without the statutes and commandments to keep them holy, they went out and started sinning. They went out and started telling other people to sin. These wicked men, not only that, were preaching to tell the children of Israel, you know, it's okay to do what the Greeks do, you know. Forget about the law, statute, commandments. Just come on, let's do our own thing. Let's do what the Greeks do. Keep going.
Verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, Antiochus, the water, he thought to reign over Egypt.
Okay, so now this is his first conquest. Antiochus wanted to do. So now that he was king, not only did he want to convert the children of Israel, but he also wanted to gather up more land. But of course, at that time, you know, in today's world, we have superpowers. But at that time, they had a superpower. The superpower was the Roman Empire. So, of course, Antiochus went down to Egypt to slay the Egyptians, to take over their land as well. Keep going.
That he might have dominion of two realms.
Of course, so he wanted the dominion of the north and of the south. So this is a king who was not only an egotistical king, but he was very ambitious. He wanted lands from the top and bottom. He wanted to glorify himself. Keep going.
Come. Verse 17. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots.
Stop right there. With chariots. Of course, these chariots were men and horses. Some of them had swords, some of them had bows and arrows. So he came in to Egypt with great numbers of an army. So of course he came prepared. Keep going.
And elephants and horsemen and a great navy.
So at that time, their army was very consistent of men, archers, you know, men on horses with arrows. And of course, they're very known. The Macedonians are very known to use elephants in warfare. You know, at that time, you know, the elephants were kind of like their tanks. So they were able to get through fortresses, through fortified fortresses, and through armies with elephants and with chariots. So they came prepared to slew Egypt and take it over. Keep going.
Verse 18, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt.
Okay, so Ptolemy is, of course, he was the king. He was a pharaoh at that time. So the Ptolemy army was trying to fight back against the coming of Antiochus's army of the Greeks. So the Greeks are coming down to take over Egypt, and the Ptolemy were trying to defend it. Keep going.
But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled.
And go ahead, keep going.
And many were wounded to death. Verse 19. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt.
Stop right there. So, of course, with them, they have the Greeks had many numbers, so they came in with big numbers. But the Ptolemy, they knew they were outnumbered. The king was afraid and fled. So, of course, this king was a coward. So he wasn't ready to fight this great army because, he would die with them. Keep going.
And he took the spoils thereof.
Okay, stop right there. So with the king of Egypt that fled, the Macedonian army came in and took over Egypt. They killed many men. They took the spoils of war. They took the women. Of course, the Greeks are known for that. They come in, they take the spoils of war. They take the women, the children, because they know that they're treasured. Keep going.
Verse 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year.
Okay. So after he took up Egypt and had made it his own fortress there, now he's ready to return back to his kingdom. Now it says at that time, Antiochus that had slew Egypt, it had there was something that did happen in Egypt when he was trying to slay it. Roman had sent one of its men down there to stop him from doing so. So he did conquer it, but he wasn't allowed to stay over and control it. So of course, Antiochus, being that he was pretty mad. He was pissed off. So he's coming back into his land, but he had to pass by Jerusalem. Now this is what happened in Jerusalem. Keep going.
And went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Stop right there. With a great multitude. So him being mad, not only that he defeated Egypt, but being mad that he wasn't able to conquer it, it kind of bashed on his name. So him being an ego king, it kind of messed with the ego. He was very mad. He came back up to Jerusalem, finding out there was a civil war. There was people within the children of Israel that did not want to assimilate with the Greeks, that did not want to do away with the laws. They were still faithful to that. And the wicked men were already sending complaints up to the king. So of course, the king being mad, having to fail to take over another king, has sent his men to slaughter the rest of the children of Israel that would not convert with the Greeks, that would not assimilate with them. Kind of like what the whites did. We did not want to be with the whites. We wanted to make our own community. So of course, there were massacres. So there's a compare and contrast to that. We don't want to join it with another nation. That nation would send men up there to kill them. Okay, so there are naysayers. Okay, let's send down there and just kill them off. Keep going.
And the candlestick, Salakia, verse 21, and entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar.
Okay, go ahead.
You bring out a great point about, it also reminds me of the natives that did not want to assimilate into the white people. How they would pretty much slaughter the native women, and then they would re-educate the children. They would say, kill the Indian, save the child, which they could send the Indian children to fight in the school, that they could lose their culture. So, what you're bringing out is excellent. It shows that how the white man has always done the same thing throughout history, even when he was Greek, during the times of Greeks, all the way up to modern times, which he's even doing now. When they just have different tactics that do to slaughter us when we want to do our own thing. So that's excellent. You think about all the black towns that were created that are now under water or been buried or been destroyed because blacks did not want to assimilate. That's an excellent point.
Khan, give that brother a hand. That's an excellent point he made. It's another compare and contrast to what was going on when he slaughtered many of our people. So, of course, when you don't assimilate with a nation, the nation is not going to sit there and allow you to just exist. A nation will try to kill you. And this is an example of what the Macedonians did. We wouldn't want to convert with the Greeks. So instead of letting us be our own people, They killed us. Keep going.
Hachaanakah. And the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof.
All right. So this king, while he was killing our people, the children of Israel, he came in proudly within to the temple where we worshiped Most High God. You know, we had our altar, we had the menorah, we had the scriptures right there, we had the Ark of the Covenant in there. So he came in proudly, ready to desecrate it. So it's kind of like a king. When a king comes in with his army and they slew like a fortress, what do you think an army does when they come into a fortress and they kill all the men? What's the first thing they do? Anyone want to give me a hand? Go ahead.
Like, you talking about like they ransack it, like
Basically
destroy everything in there.
Khan. That's an example. So they came in not only just to destroy it, but to change it into their image. Keep going.
Hachaanakah. Verse 22. And the table of shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
Okay. So not only was he coming there proudly, but he was ransacking, like this brother said. He came in, you know, destroying places, taking things of their own. If you look up online right now, there are murals of arts of the Macedonians coming in, and you see one of them holding up the menorah in their hand and holding up the scriptures in their other hand and holding up treasures. So this is proof that this did happen. They came in, they took everything of our property, not only just to set them off as treasure, but as treasures of war, like an achievement. We came in, we killed these people, and we took their holy things. You know, this is something to be proud about. That's what they did. The king came in proudly. Keep going.
Verse 23. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels also he took, the hidden treasures which he found.
Okay, so we had hidden treasures around, of course, within the temple as well. So they found the hidden treasures and they took them as well. So they were pillaging, they were plundering, they were conquesting, they were taking everything that they deemed was theirs. Keep going.
Verse 24. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly.
So after what he did, he came back into his land. So he made his way back up into Greece, into Macedonia. And he preached, but he spoke to his people, you know. I just came in, I went in and took over Egypt. But with that, I came. So, of course, he was probably lying to his people. I took over Egypt. I came back up to Jerusalem. I slain many people, and I brought back more treasures, spoils of war. So, of course, he was speaking proudly about it. He was happy that he did what he did. So that says something about this king's character. The same thing it says about the white man. When he goes into a country, they say there's weapons of mass destruction. Not really. He's just coming in to take in what he wants, like oil. That's treasure for him. So that's another example. He comes in, lies to his people. So you could probably tell already that says something about his character. Not only is he a narcissist, he's a liar, but also he's an evil, wicked man. You know, he takes what he wants and he boasts about it. Of course, there's another meaning to his name. They say there's a Greek word that says about Antiochus, he was a mad king. They say he was a very mad king. He would pick a random person around the street and just give them treasure. It's basically just kind of boosts his own ego, his own morals. Really, he's a very bad person. Keep going.
Hachaanakah. Verse 25. Therefore, there was great mourning in Israel.
Of course, there was a. Go ahead.
Slaki. In every place where they were.
Every place where they were. So after he did what he did, you know, there was a verse in here that, and I'm gonna give a precept. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. The gates represent our leaders, and Judah represents our people. So Judah was in mourning, but their people, it says here, were in mourning. Israel was in mourning. After he did what he did, you know, we're all recovering for what just happened. You know, many of our people were slain. Half our people were slain. Some of them were slain by those wicked men and those same very wicked women that converted to Greeks. So they were teaming with the Greeks and helping them kill us that didn't want to convert or assimilate with the Greeks. So there was a great mourning within our people. Keep going. I mean, Slakia, go ahead.
What you're bringing up is very dynamic because the white man, every time when he infiltrates a nation up that he wants to take over, he always uses the nation's own people to come in there and infiltrate them. You know, anytime that there were black groups or native groups, the white man would send their own people in there, like a black somebody that looks like them, to infiltrate them and destroy them from the inside out. First, it was always traitors, because they wanted to come from the white man. Which is bringing up this dynamic. This is always happening.
Kind of a con. That's an excellent point. I say this: when you see an army come into a nation, what's the first thing to do once they take over it? They'll try to convert that nation to what they call democracy. But you all know that doesn't work. Some nations that they do put democracy in there, you know that that nation is not built for that. So you already see destruction falling apart. You see the people being killed by a fake leader. You see people, rebelling against them. Of course, now there's war. Now that country's in destruction. And it happens every time America comes into another country and does the same thing. They come in, they take what they want, they try to convert the people to their ways, and it doesn't work. So that leads to civil war within that country, and then that country is just destroyed. So they come in and take whatever's left, and they call them terrorists, or they call them, oh, that land is bad, don't go there. So this is another example, compare and contrast to what King Antiochus did. He came in. He killed the people that didn't want to convert to the Greek, that didn't want to assimilate with the Greeks, Salakia. And so there was a great mourning within our community. Keep going.
Verse 26. So that the princes and elders mourned the virgins and young men.
Okay, stop right there. So with that being said, the children of Israel couldn't do anything about it. Now that his rule was in Jerusalem, they couldn't fight back. So some of the Greeks came in, of course, they changed their ways. They added more colosseums. They desecrated the temple. They took our women. They married on our women forcefully, raped them. And then even the women were sad. There's nothing they could have done, because if they did something, by the king's decree, they would be killed. They were allowed to kill the women and the children of Israel if they didn't like what they did. Keep going.
Then the young men were made feeble, and the beauty of the women was changed.
Of course. So not only were they not feeding our men, but they also thrown them in slavery. So of course, some of our men went into slavery, were forced to work for them, and then they made them very weak. But the women they took for themselves. Of course, like I said, spoils of war, treasures, women, gold, everything. So they took the women, they married them. And some of these women, they didn't want to marry them at all, but there's something they could have done. But the men, they threw them to slavery. They wanted to kill off the men. Keep going.
Verse 27. Every bridegroom took up lamentation.
I'm going to stop right there. Another example for lamentation is kind of like, depression. The women were very depressed, knowing that they were being married to an unholy nation, to a heathen. They were very depressed because there's nothing they could have done. Keep going.
And she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness.
So they were very sad. They were forced to do something they didn't want to. So they were sad. They were depressed. Keep going.
Verse 28. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion.
Okay. So now not only our people, but the houses, the places where we go to worship Most High God, some of them were changed to places to worship idols, to worship the Greek gods. Of course, online, you know what they are, but these were pagan gods. These were heathen gods. These were fake gods. These were idols. And not only that, but the land was filled with confusion. It was the rules that King Antiochus had laid down on the Jerusalem had confused the people. If they didn't obey, they would kill them. And if they did obey it, of course, they would be, how you say it? What's that word? They would be turning away from the laws. They would be, disrespecting the laws, the statute and commandments. They would be forgetting the Sabbath days. So, them being divided, there's nothing they could have done. It was confusion within the land. So it was kind of like everybody felt like it was hopeless. Keep going.
Verse 29. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the tribes, unto the cities of Judah.
Stop right there. So after 2 years, 2 years later, while this was set in stone, the decree was set in, the king had made everything right within Jerusalem for himself. Of course, this benefit him. He had sent someone down, kind of like a tax collector, like an IRS at that time, to come in and take treasures, to take spoils, it's kind of like billing the people. So they came, he sent, read that verse again.
The king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah.
Of course. So not only was this guy coming in taking, taxes within the people, but he was making sure everybody was doing what the Greeks do, making sure everybody there was Greek. Keep going.
Who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Of course, this king, this chief didn't come alone. He come in with an army. So sometime, even in real life, you'll see an army coming after they take over. You'll see an army come in to see how everything's going for them, Either they put democracy within that country to see if everything's abiding by their rule. They send not only the army, but also, men in suits. But at that time, they sent a tax collector and an army to come in, make sure everybody was doing what the Greeks did. So just compare and contrast. Keep going.
Verse 30. And spoke peaceable words unto them. But all was deceit, for when they had given him credence.
Stop right there. Of course, with these guys that come in and take what they want, they try to speak peaceable words like everything's okay. This is a good thing we're doing. It's not really. Anybody want to give me an example of someone coming in speaking peaceable words, but actually it's all just deceit? Go ahead.
Kind of like how they did with the Native Americans. They spoke good words, good tales, and next thing you know, they made them celebrate a holiday of a mass, like just unaliving of them.
So some of them, go ahead.
Also, you got to think when the white man would send his ministers and send Christianity, they would always tell the black people to you have to obey your master, and they would always seem peaceful coming in, even though it was destruction that they really wanted. But that was to get the blacks to have their guard down, and then they would just come in and destroy.
And that's another example. Kind of like what the conquistadors did. They came in to a land that wasn't theirs. They came in, try to speak peaceable words. Of course, they try to be peaceful about it. And then after they leave, they come back with men and they slaughter the people. So even there's some of the people that did decline, they didn't want to hear all that. And they left. They came back and killed those people anyway and just took what they want. So, of course, this tax collector or this tribute guy wasn't coming in to speak peace, but he was also making sure everybody was following what the king told them to do. Keep going.
He fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, destroyed much people of Israel.
Okay, so like I said, there was like in the previous verse to say it was a great sorrow within Jerusalem. There was still more people there that still serve the still Most High God, that still served the statutes, the laws, and the commandments, that still did the Sabbath days. So no matter how much wickedness there is in the land, you still can't kill the little people that's left that still care about the laws. There's still going to be more. So, of course, he speak peaceable words to the children of Israel, and there were still those that declined, that still rebelled against him. So, of course, that's why he came in with a multitude, with his army. That army came in and killed the rest. It's like, okay, kill them. Keep going.
Verse 31. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire.
Of course. And this is something you've seen in movies or on TV. You see like a Viking come in, they destroy a city, destroy a town, a village. And they take what they want, take treasures, they take the women, set the houses on fire, and leave it away in disarray and destruction. So, of course, he saw that there were still the children of Israel that were still faithful to the laws. Not only did he kill them, but he destroyed the houses as well. He was doing more damage. Keep going.
And pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. Verse 32. but the women and children took they captive.
Okay, there you go. There's that what I was just talking about. They took the women and the children because they know that they're more precious, they're more valuable. Some of them could be sold into slavery, some of them could turn into prostitutes. The Greeks did some very disgusting things, the same way the whites do. They don't tell you what they do when when America comes into a land, not only just to conquer it, but some of them do some very foul things, like Vietnam. The white man came into Vietnam to kill the Vietnamese. But not only that, they were sleeping with them. You know, they were laying with them. They were destroying the land. There was a lot of confusion. They did some very horrible things. The same thing that the Macedonians were doing to the children of Israel. So this is another compare and contrast. Anybody want to give me another example of what the white men did? Another war? Officer Bakar?
Or you can use the transatlantic slave trade, what he did with us, prostitution. You got us over here and forced up to Christianity.
Khan, that's a good example. Give that brother a hand. So there's a lot of things that the Macedonians did to make these people, you know, submit to the king's word, to submit to the king's authority. Even if we decline it, he would still send men then to kill them and to take them. Keep going.
Khan, and possessed the cattle. Verse 33. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall.
Of course. So after that, what's his name? Let's see. After that tribute guy, after he did what he did, he turned that land that he just killed, you know, all those people he just taken away into slavery. He turned that land into a fortress for, of course, more military. So sometimes the military not only would conquer it and just leave it this way, but sometimes they'll take it and turn it into their own fortress. So he took another village and turned it into their own fortress, of course, where they can stock up, you know, and be ready. So it's kind of like another checkpoint for them. Keep going.
Khan. And with a mighty tower, it's like it, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them.
Of course. So now this was another stronghold for the Macedonian army. So sometimes whatever place they take over, they'll turn it to a village of their own, or they'll turn it to a fortress of their own. Keep going.
Khan. Verse 34. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
Of course, they had to populate that place that they took over. So there wasn't only a fortress, but also a city as well. So they're known for that. They come in, they take over, they kill the people, they turn into a fortress and a village on the side. So they had to add wicked men from Greece. They had to add wicked men within Jerusalem as well, and the wicked women. They pour them in. They brought, you know, random folks. They brought strangers within a nation that even the children of Israel didn't even know who they were. So this also caused even more confusion. Keep going.
Khan. Verse 35. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered them together, the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare.
All right. So they became a sore snare. So after they took over, they turned it into a place where they, you know, they could have, you know, swords that they keep up. You know, they make more swords, make more shields. It's kind of like something to keep the Macedonian army armored up and ready for another war they need to prepare. So it wasn't only a sinful city, but it was also a place for them to be ready for another war. So read that verse one more time.
Khan. And when they had gathered them together, the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare.
Of course, it became a sore sight to see, you know, all the treasures within the Jerusalem, within that one city, you know, everybody had to look up and see, you know, they came in, they killed the people, and then they laid them in display for you to see. It's kind of like, yeah, we came in, we killed these people, and we laid it out for you guys to see. Kind of like set an example to scare the children of Israel to submit to Greeks, or this will be your fate. Keep going.
Khan. Verse 36. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary, so like to Israel.
Of course. So this is a place for wicked men and women to come in and congregate. This is a place for them to sin, to do whatever they want. but it was also not like a warning, but it was more of like it was another example for the children of Israel to see kind of like another, give them, it's hopeless, submit to us, or this will be your fate. So, and this was an evil adversary to Israel, like another stain, another stain. I would say like another. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 37. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it.
So not only was it a stain, but they still killed more people there, still killed the children of Israel there. They still spilled more blood. So there, even though there were still those that did decline, that still rebelled against them, they killed them anyways. And it was on for show for everyone to see. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 38. Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them.
Of course, it's kind of like what ICE does. They come in, they take people and they deport them, but they scare folks to make them run away, to make them feel hopeless. So the Greeks were coming in to not only to kill them and take over, but to scare away anyone else that still were faithful to the laws and statutes and commandments. Like, this is not your land no more. This is ours now. So get out. It's kind of what people do. It's kind of like what white people do. They take over a land and they tell us, if you don't like it, then just leave, get out of our land. When they came in and stole it themselves, they're illegals themselves. Keep going.
Okay. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers and became strange to those that were born in her.
Of course. So with the influx of more strangers from other nations, from heathen nations, the children of Israel, they were confused, but now the land was unrecognizable. It wasn't theirs anymore. Now it was just like a land of the Greeks. It was another checkpoint for the Greeks, another place, another pawn. So now there was confusion within this land. Read that verse one more time.
Okay. The city was made an habitation of strangers and became strange to those that were born in her.
Keep going.
Okay. And her own children left her.
So not only were they leaving, but those who were born within that city that was being taken over by the Macedonians, some of them didn't even know whether they were Israelites or whether they were Greeks. So them, now that they were assimilating, some of them were losing their identities. They didn't know, are we Israelites or are we Greeks? This is something that King Antiochus did. Everywhere he went, he destroyed and turned it of his own. And then those people would be confused, so they convert themselves to Greeks. Antiochus' goal was to have everyone be one person, to be one people, the same way America does. One person, one people. Keep going.
Verse 39. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Her Sabbaths into reproach. Her honor into contempt.
So it says, read that first verse again.
Her sanctuary was laid waste.
Stop right there. Were laid waste. Her sanctuaries, safe spots, places to pray. These sanctuaries were destroyed and converted to Greek temples for them to worship. So the sanctuaries were laid waste. These sanctuaries weren't safe anymore. If a man of God tried to come in and worship, they would kill him on the spot. So these weren't safe places no more. Keep going.
Her feasts were turned into mourning.
Stop right there. Her feasts were turned into mourning. So after they just lost their children, their men, their women, some of them were even sold into slavery. Some of them were killed off. Some of them converted. So of course they were a great mourning. Some of them that they couldn't save, they grieved them. Keep going.
Her Sabbaths into reproach.
Her Sabbaths into reproach. Slakia. So some of them couldn't even do the Sabbath day. They were afraid. It's like them in their house. They tried to do a Sabbath day, and in the land of Jerusalem that were already being controlled by the Greeks. Somebody could be listening in. They can barge in and they could kill you, or an army man or a soldier would come in and kill you. So some of them were afraid to even do the Sabbath days because of that. Keep going.
Her honor into contempt.
Her honor into contempt. Some of them that couldn't even see themselves for what they were now. They were embarrassed. So some of them were even contempt. Some of them were angry that they had to be Greeks, but they had no choice. Keep going.
Verse 40. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased.
All right. Keep on going.
And her excellency was turned into mourning.
And her excellency was turned into mourning. So the last bit of joy within the kingdom of Jerusalem, the last bit of joy was turned into sorrow. So it was turned into this anguish, to anger. They couldn't celebrate anymore. Some of them were ashamed that the land of Israel had been turned into another checkpoint for the Greeks. Some of them were even mad, but there's nothing they could have done about it. Keep going.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
There you go. All should be one people. Every time you come into a nation will tell you, I want you to speak my language. Be like me. I want you to be exactly like me. So there's no confusion. So other nations will come in and take over and tell you, be like me or get deported or we'll kill you. The same way America does. You come into that land, you got to speak English. You got to do what we do. You got to act white or get deported or get out. Or they'll throw you to the detention centers, prison, or follow you. Keep going.
So like I was saying, it said like make them into one people. It's kind of like how they made like the Native Americans, like they washed their skin out to the point like it was completely bleached, like to like remove their like cultural identity and just to make them look like everybody else.
Khan, that's a good example. Not only that, if there are some people within our community that would try to favor for the white man, kind of like try to turn themselves over to the white man to, how they say, get a seat at his table. Really, you'll never be like them. So some of us, there's two roles within in every community that try to act white: the knight and the jester. Of course, some of them will be comedians, but some of them will keep telling stop saying they're racist. They're right. We're bad. We need to be just like them. Or the knights are like the enforcers, kind of like those who run for political parties. Turning point. Of course, for the Republicans, you'll see a lot of them. Keep going.
Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Of course. So now that the king has set another order for them to turn to leave your statutes, laws, and commandments, but be just like me. It's like him saying, I command you guys to be just like the Greeks, or we'll kill you. And that was his decree. Keep going.
Verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
So a lot of our prophets, a lot of our priests, some of them converted to be Greeks. Some of them converted to their gods. So some of them were defiling their temples of holy place, of our Sabbaths. They turned Sabbaths to reproach. So they were not only benefiting the king, but they were also benefiting the suffering within our community, within the children of Israel. Anybody want to give me another example of people within our community contributing to the suffering of our community? Good.
Excellent point. Christian pastors do it all the time. They consent. They want to see the white man's table, and they compromise our inheritance. And that Christianity all the way. That's what Christianity is.
Khan. It's a good example. Anybody want to give me another example? Sisters? Anybody want to give me another example of people within our community trying to turn us away from the laws and statute commandments? Khan.
Hispanics, worship the Santeria, all that stuff. They don't know that they worship deities and other idols.
Khan. That's a good example. Anyone want to give me another example?
ICE.
There you go. ICE. Some eat. There's not only that, they're deporting Mexicans and Hispanics and also blacks. But some of them would even, and it's even sick, some of them would even urge citizens to join up with ICE, join ICE and we'll pay you. We'll do the same thing. Something happened in Utah. It's another example. Something happened in Utah. There was a bounty for these family members within Utah to deport these, and they had $58,000 on them. And so there's this company, you guys know them, HR Block. So these two white couples decided to sell out these people, and then some of them used their insurance. They knew them very well. They knew them for years. And what was very sick about it was that they had files and these names on these families. They decided to take those names and give it to ICE, and ICE took them away and deported them. And then they cashed out on that bounty. And you know what those HRCO did in Utah? They took that money and they went on a vacation with it. They took that money and went on vacation. It says all over the news. Like, how sick can you be to do that? And that's another example. Go ahead, Maya.
Khan. Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
So, of course, this is kind of like you see in movies. You see like a messenger come in with a scroll and he'll open it up and tell, people. It's kind of like an announcement, like, keep doing what the king tell you to do. Do his commandments. Do his things, Or, of course, there will be consequences to it. So the king would send messengers throughout his kingdom, places that he had conquered, and tell them, and make sure you guys are doing what I'm doing, or we'll kill you. Keep going.
Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
Of course. So they turn our holy days, and of course, kind of like they turn our holy days into parties. They turn our Sabbath days into a day of reproach, or they'll turn our Sabbath days into like a king announcement. Some of them will go there and throw these unholy parties. This also, the Greeks had made a holiday, which this holiday is connected to. Y'all know Christmas. Christmas is also connected to a Greek holiday that they would do. They would take the circumcised babies within the children of Israel and they would hang them on the tree. This is something the Greeks did. So they were making sure that the children of Israel were doing what the king had told them to do. Keep going.
Verse 46. And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
So they polluted the sanctuary and the holy people. So those who are still loyal, who are still faithful to the Most High God and to the statute and the laws and the commandments, some of them were killed and some of them were humiliated. Some of them were, of course, by the king's decree. Some of them were humiliated by the army, by the king himself, by the tribute, by the messengers, by the very people who converted to Greekism. So, and also the sanctuary. The sanctuary was also converted to Greeks until they're like the Colosseums, place where they congregate. They turn into parties. And this was something that the Most High God did not want you to do. Keep going.
Verse 47. Set up altars and groves and chapels of iron. Chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Okay, so in the temple, we would do burnt offerings to the Most High God. So this was something we'd do on a holy day or on Sabbath days. So they turned those places where we do burnt offerings, and they decided to send a burnt offering of a pig. So of course you all know a pig is unclean. This is also kind of like a metaphor. That nation was unclean, so they sent an unclean animal to sacrifice to a fake god. So this is something the Greeks would do. They'll come in, turn a holy place into their own, and then defile it some more. So not only that, it's like more like a salt in the wound. You already killed the people, so why not desecrate their place of worship, the place of holy? Keep going.
Verse 48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
So this was the Macedonian way. They wanted you to be just like the Greeks. Make your children unclean. Make them just like us. Make them come into the Colosseums and exercise naked. Make them sacrifice to unholy gods, to unholy idols. Make them join within the Seleucid army. Make them unbearable to the children of Israel. Make their women into prostitutes. Have sex with them. Marry them. Kill them. This is something the Seleucids did. Keep going.
Verse 49. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
So they by doing this, they hope that in time we would just forget the laws and just be Greeks. So this is something that King Antiochus IV wanted us to do. Be like him, be unto one people. So they were hoping by doing this, we would just forget our identity. We would lose our identity. And we were. Slowly, bit by bit, these decrees and these orders and these killings and these massacres slowly chipped away at our people. And we were losing our identity. So this was the beginning. Keep going.
Verse 50. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die.
Of course, there goes that decree. So the military within the Seleucid army and the king himself, those who are situated within around Jerusalem and every village and every city, had the order. Whoever didn't do what the Greeks were doing, whoever didn't sacrifice unto a holy God, whoever was out here doing the Sabbath day in secret, kill them. Go in their houses and kill them. Keep going.
Verse 51. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
Okay, stop right there. So that was in what verse?
Verse 51.
Verse 51. So to make sure the children of Israel was doing what the Greeks were doing, he had sent men, he sent lords, I say not lords, but priests of his own around each place to make sure we were in check. Kind of like a mayor. So he sent mayors in. It's kind of like what today we have, like mayors, but they sent chiefs within his kingdom to keep watch on us to make sure we're doing what they're doing. So, go ahead.
Verse 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land.
So, of course, earlier on in verse 11, the very wicked men, the very wicked women. So some of them that have already despised the laws and statute commandments, that didn't like it, they celebrated. They were actually enjoyed. They enjoyed it. They enjoyed that the fact that the king was allowing this to happen, that they were pushing this on the people. So now there was no resistance, and they celebrated on that. Keep going.
Verse 53. And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
So, of course, the children of Israel, they tried, some of them that were still left, that still did the Sabbath days, that were still loyal to the statutes and commandments. Some of them had to flee in secret because they couldn't just flee in public. And of course, if the people found out, they would probably drag them out in the street and kill them. Some of them had to flee in secret, kind of like, leave the nation that they were born in. Some of the children that were born in that nation were confused whether they were Greeks or Israelites. So those that had to leave in secret had to go out into mountains, into other nations that were of heathen nations. Some of them were strangers within other nations to do the statute, laws, and commandments in peace without the king's rule always bearing down on their necks. The same way the white man does, We try to build a community of our own, and he'll come in and destroy it and then blame us for it or keep it in secret. And so this would constantly be a problem. Everywhere we leave, kind of like they did in the South in the 1920s, the Great Migration. When the blacks left, then most of the blacks left the South, they were trying to get away from all the white violence that the whites kept coming in, lynching us, killing us, raping us. So some of us try to get away from that. The same with the Israelites are doing. They're trying to get away from that. This is a whole mess. It was kind of like, oh yeah, this place is out of control. We got to get out of here. Go ahead.
Verse 54. Now the 15th day of month Casale.
And let me stop right there. Caslu is also another example. It's December. So what holidays in December that the white man celebrates? Go ahead, Officer.
Christmas.
That's correct. Christmas. So December is something that the Greeks would use on that month to celebrate a holy holiday. There's another example that Christmas is connected to the Greeks. Go ahead.
Now the 15th day of month Casale, and the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side.
Of course, so these were their Greek gods that they celebrate, you know, the Zeus, the Poseidon, and whatnot. They would take these statues, these idols, and set up in the middle of the street and have them celebrated. There were examples, like I said, the children that they are hanged of circumcised children that were killed and then hung on trees. Another connection to Christmas. You see Christmas ordinance set up on a tree, a star at the top. So, and then idols as well. So, of course, you see that around the house and neighborhoods today. But back then, they'll have idols set around the middle of the streets. They'll have all these decorations hanged up in the land of Jerusalem. And then they'll have idols up for you to pray in public. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah, verse 55. And burn incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets.
So to them, this was something that they deemed was holy. But to us, it was an abomination. This was something that was sick. They would take incense from our temples and burn them at their houses to celebrate this holiday. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah, verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they had found, they burnt them with fire.
Of course. So the statutes, laws, commands, the Bible like this, they would take laws like this and they'll rip it up and burn them. So it's something they would do, kind of like burn them. It's like something to be fun with. It's like something to play with. They'll take laws, they'll take Bibles, they'll take scriptures within and around the house and within the temple, and they'll burn them in public. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah, verse 57. And whosoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Hachaanakah, verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month to as many as were found in the cities.
All right, stop right there real quick. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with the highest ranking man to grab something to eat. Start off with the captains, all the captains. All right, we're gonna start off with the 5,000s. 5,000 officers. Gonna go ahead and grab their plates. And all the thousands. Go back and read 2 verses again.
Verse 57.
Verse 56, sir.
Verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire.
Keep going.
Verse 57. And whosoever was found with the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
Of course, another example. This was the authority of the king. Anybody still found worshiping the law, statute, commandments would be to be killed on sight. So this was still prevalent anyways. You know, it didn't matter whether it happened a year ago. This was still something that the king enforced. If they found you worshiping the laws and statute commandments, you were to be killed on sight. Go ahead.
Verse 58. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month to as many as were found in the cities.
So, of course, they treated this as a sport. Anybody found washing the statute and commandments, they were proud to kill them. So they will go around and not only just catching them doing it, but they'll patrol it. They'll do it on purpose, kind of like what ICE does. They'll go around finding someone they can snatch up, or police does when they stop someone on a traffic stop. They'll find someone they want to arrest and pull over. So these wicked men, these wicked women, and these wicked army, military, these soldiers would find people of our people would come, they'll find them and stop them and kill them. If they catch them doing the Sabbath day, if they catch them doing the holy days or the feast, they would kill them. Go ahead.
Verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the altar, upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God.
All right. I'm gonna stop right here real quick. 500s and 50s. You guys go and get up and get your lunch. So I can. 500s, 50s. Go ahead. Come, sir. The troopers, you can come up and get you something to eat right as well. Go ahead. Go back and read that verse again.
Verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God.
What verse was that?
59, sir.
Hachaanakah.
Go good.
So they did this kind of like a market period. On this specific day, they would do this very thing every month, or every December. So lock it. Read that again.
Hachaanakah. Now the 25th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the idol altar.
Stop right there. So of course, our temple that we go to worship, they turn that into a sacrificial place for them to take unholy animals, on unclean animals or people. Sometimes they'll even sacrifice people. They'll take them and they'll sacrifice it until they're idols. So this is something they did every December. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah, which was upon the altar of God.
All right. Keep on going.
Verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised.
Of course, so they made this into a public spectacle. Not only were they sacrificing to their fake gods, but they were also taking children, men and women that had been circumcised in the middle of the streets or at the temple of their god. And then they would kill them on sight, right in front of everyone, to make an example. Something that they would celebrate. Something that they would turn into a day of happiness. They'll turn into something like a joy. Like it was a good thing that we killed them right in front of everyone. It's kind of like a sideshow. They'll do it as like a sideshow. Go ahead.
Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them.
All right. So the children that were circumcised, they hang them around their necks. They didn't care whether you were young or old. They'd hang you right there on the spot and put you right in front of the middle of the street on that specific holiday. Read that verse again.
Hachaanakah. Verse 61. And they hanged the infants about their necks.
Stop right there. What kind of nation would hang babies around their necks? Those that were circumcised, for everyone to see. That's a nation to convert yourself into. The wicked men and women wanted to assimilate themselves with that because they were already wicked. They already were sinning. And the restriction that came with the laws that they were uncomfortable with, that's why they turned to the king, because the king allowed them to. So since there were no one to stop them, this is something they would do every day on December. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. And rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them.
So the children and the women and men that they took and killed in public, those houses they were in, they destroyed. So not only were they killing them, but destroy where they live as well. Go ahead.
Verse 62. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
Of course, many of them that still did not convert it to Greekism were still loyal to the statute and commandments. So then some of them even did in secret that they didn't eat the unclean animals. Of course, the Greeks, now they were going to decree to kill anyone who was still doing the laws. Some of them would try to see if you were eating some of their food, and many of the children of Israel were not. So some of them were resolved not to eat of the unclean animal. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. Resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Verse 63. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats.
Stop right there. So some of them that still didn't eat unclean animals, they would rather die than to convert themselves to. You got a question, sir? Hachaanakah. So some of them that did not want to eat these things, some of them, they said, I would rather die than to eat these unclean animals and convert myself to Greekism, to assimilate myself with these people. I'd rather not. Hachaanakah. All the young men, you can come and get your son to eat. Good?
Come on.
All right. Keep reading. Read that verse again.
Hachaanakah. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats.
So you know, some of them that still did not convert it, some of them that were still holy, would rather die and go to the kingdom of heaven rather than to stay down there and to convert to be Greeks and do these unholy things. Kind of like it's kind of like another example, you know? I would rather still be black than to be white. I would rather still be Hispanic than to be white. I would rather still be myself than be American. I would rather be myself than be Asian or to be African. So some of these people, they still have their identity. Some of them that still haven't lost their identity. Some of them that were still, that were not confused. They would rather die than to be confused. They would rather die than to be Greeks. They would rather die to sin. Go ahead.
Khan. And that they might not profane the holy covenant, so then they died.
All right. So some of them not only were not to eat abominable things, but some of them would not break the laws. They would rather die than to break the laws, because if they did, the Lord would have the wrath upon them. They know better than to do that. So they would rather choose death than to break the laws, than to eat defiled, to eat disgusting things, to eat abominable things. All right, go ahead, keep going.
Khan. Verse 64. And there was very great wrath upon Israel.
Of course, there was a great wrath. You hear that? There was a great wrath upon Israel again. So they killed them anyways. Okay, you guys didn't want to eat what we do? Okay, we'll just kill you anyways. So the Greeks didn't care whether you did or didn't eat them. That's something the king had made a decree. He didn't care whether you were still loyal to the statute of commandments. He'd kill you off because he didn't want you there. This is something every land does. No matter how hard we try to become like them, they still don't want us to be like them. They still don't want us to be at their table. Same as a white man. So even a black person or an Hispanic person or a Native American Indian try to join with the white man would never want you at his table. The white man would never want you at his side. So there's another example. Go ahead.
Second Maccabees, sir.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Second Maccabees, chapter 2. Chapter 1, verse 1. The brethren, the Jews that be at Jerusalem and in the land of Judah, wish unto the brethren, the Jews that are throughout Egypt, health and peace.
So where are you?
Second Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1.
We're in the first Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1.
Chapter 2, verse 1.
So before we get back on that, so what I just talked about was also the result of what the wicked man and the wicked women, but also what the men of Greek did when they came over to our land. Not only were they slowly converting us, but when the king came down and slew most of us, the rest of us that would submit to Greeks became Greeks. The king Antiochus IV, his goal was to have everyone be one person, and that was his main mission. He didn't care whether you didn't like his laws or not. He'd still kill you off anyways. He didn't want you there anyways. It's something he claimed he thought was his land. So he killed most of the children of Israel. He killed most of us. And some of us that were already wicked were down with it anyways. And some of them even contributed to killing most of us. You got what I need?
Go
ahead.
This is the book of Maccabees, chapter 1. First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. And in those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Stop right there. If there's any man around here who hasn't got a plate yet, please get your plate right now before 5 minutes we're going to call up the sisters. All right. Let's read that verse again.
Verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John.
Okay. So this is the beginning of the resistance. I'd say this is now the beginning of a birth of resistance, kind of like Nat Turner. This was the beginning of a man who would turn the tides and bring us back to the laws and statute commandments, who would bring back our identity that we lost from the Greeks. Go ahead.
The son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib. It's like that. Say it right, sir?
Khan.
From Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Of course. So this man, Matthias, was a part of Simeon. He was a tribe. He was one of the 12 tribes of Israel. He was a Dominican. So he was a priest of the sons of Joarib from Jerusalem, where he dealt. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Then, and he had 5 sons.
No. Sisters, you may go up and get your plate.
Joanan, called Cadiz. Verse 3.
Stop right there. Verse 8. Your sisters, are you allowed to rise and get your plates? Read that verse again.
Hachaanakah. And he had 5 sons. Joanan, called Cadiz. Verse 3. Simeon, called Thasi. Verse 4. Judah, who was called Maccabees. Verse 5. Eleazar, called Avaron. And Jonathan, whose surname was Aphias. Aphas?
You got it right.
Aphias.
Stop right there. So these are the sons of Mattathias. So Mattathias had many sons. These sons, they're also going around the tribe where they're from and then their name. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, verse 7.
Stop right there. And I want you guys to remember this. He was from he was a Judas who was called Maccabees. Maccabeus. They call him Maccabeus, but his resistance was called Maccabees. So remember that. And then go ahead.
Verse 7. He said, woe is me. Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people?
Stop right there. So this man, Mattathias, was born into the lost and such command. He was born into the truth. So coming to see a city in such a state where they were all in confusion, they were all Greeks, and made him disgust. It was like, woe to the people. It was like, woe to me, shame on me that I'm part of this. I'm part of what's going on in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people?
This misery of my people. So the misery that these people were suffering, not only confusion, but also not only, I would say, torture, but also oppression. These people here, some of them were happy to be a part of Greeks, and some of them were oppressed. They didn't want to be Greeks. So he was sad to see that. They're saying, well, we are sad to see our community in such an oppressive way that the white man has on us. So it's the same thing that Mattathias had. Go ahead.
And the holy, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of the strangers.
So those wicked men were actually leaders. I'm going to bring that word again. Those wicked men were leaders, were priests, were prophets of the children of Israel. And so not only did they betray the people, but they willingly gave up our land and gave it to the Greeks so they can do whatever they want. So not only that, he was not only disgusted to see what the Greeks did, but he felt ashamed that our people have converted to Greekism, and some of them were oppressed. So, of course, he had that same care, that Mattathias had that same compassion, care for his people. He didn't like what he saw. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory.
Okay. So when you hear that word, a man without glory, it's kind of like a man without dignity, without respect. Their temple, the temple where we go, the holy temple, was turned into a place of worshiping idols. It was something to be ashamed of. Keep going.
Verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets.
Stop right there. So it says her glory vessels were carried away into captivity. So like I said, I was talking about, if you go online and you look, and there's proof on the walls, you can see the Greeks carrying the menorah, carrying the statues, the laws, the scriptures.
Yeah.
So they can see that all that they took away within that temple is in captivity with the king. It's over there with him. And then, go ahead.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets.
So there goes, I'm gonna stop right there. So there goes that saying. Her infants were slain in the streets. Those who were circumcised were slain right there on site in the street for everyone to see. So they took everything that was in the temple. They slain our children, our men and women. Go ahead.
Her young men with the sword of the enemy.
And they slain our men and women with the sword. Go ahead.
Like it. Verse 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
So there were many nations that Antiochus the fourth had slew, and some of them even had wicked men within their nations and participated in the wickedness that they did. So when they say, read that verse again.
Hachaanakah. Verse 10, what nation have not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
So not only that, he was allowing other nations of other kings to come in and take whatever they want out of Jerusalem. So it was kind of more like embarrassment, bashing us. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. Verse 11, and her ornaments, Salakia, and her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave.
There you go. All of her ornaments, the showbread, the menorah, the oils, the wine, they took them all and turned them into spoils. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. Verse 12, and behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste.
Stop right there. So it said our sanctuary, the place that we go to worship, to do our Sabbath days, they were desecrated, turned into a place of there to do worship or to go do exercise, to do Olympics, to go run around and naked, butt naked. And then on top of that, the ordinance that they took and not to make them to as treasure, but also to desecrate them. But they hanged them up around the cities to celebrate. And this says they did it on December. So this is also another connection to Christmas. So they would took all of our ornaments and they would turn it into something of their own holiday. So their destruction, their desecration of all holy things, they turn into one of their own. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. And the Gentiles have profaned it.
Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. Verse 13, to what end thereof shall we live any longer?
So it's kind of like, what's the point in living any longer if the Greeks will keep doing this to us?
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 14, the Matthias and his sons rent their cloths and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore.
So some of them was in mourning. What they saw was like a precept in Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2, the gates thereof are languish. What they saw was destruction of Jerusalem, the confusion and disillusion of the children of Israel, and then also the conversion of our temple into a place of worshiping idols and God and fake gods. So this is something that they mourn. Go ahead.
Verse 15, in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city moaning to make them sacrifice.
Hachaanakah, read that verse again.
Hachaanakah. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city moaning to make them sacrifice.
Hachaanakah. So what he just said, read that verse one more time.
Hachaanakah. Verse 15, in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city moaning to make them sacrifice.
So of course, some of them that still didn't like what the Greeks did, of course, the king would take those people and turn them into sacrifices, kill them. Go ahead. And I will say, some of those people who were compelled to revolt, some of them that still didn't like what the king had forced on them, the king had another plan with them. He just killed them off and turned them into sacrifices. So he made another example of them to show the might of his power. That's what every king does. Keep going.
Hachaanakah. Verse 16, and when many of Israel came unto them, Matthias also and his sons came together.
Okay, so many of Israel that came together, they went to Matthias, kind of spoke kind of like, you see what they're doing? This is wrong. So some of them were even agreeing with Matthias, or even, preaching that some of the stuff that they did was wrong. Many of those who were still loyal to the statute of commandments joined with Matthias. Go ahead.
Verse 17, then answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on those wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren.
So it's kind of like they treat him as he's like this role model. Your sons are still loyal to the statutes and commandments. You're a man of God, and we want to be. We want you to be our leader. Go ahead.
Gone. Verse 18. Now therefore came thou first, and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done.
Okay,
Yeah.
stop right there. So the king's officers, they were doing what they were told, kind of like when the messengers came in and made a decree. So that, of course, they were doing what they do every day. They come in, worship the fake God, make sure everybody was doing what they were doing, and then leave. Go ahead.
Come. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as Salakia, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and they children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
So this is something King Antiochus would do. Of course, some of them who were still doing what the Greeks, so they would reward them with gold, with silver. So he would treat them as just like as a reward, kind of like what the white man does, kind of like what his government does. You sell out your people, we'll reward you. So these wicked men and these officers would make sure that you were doing what they were doing, and also not only that, but selling out your people, and you'll be rewarded greatly for it. This is the king's decree. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 19. Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers.
Stop right there. So he said, even though there are many nations and many people that follow what King Antiochus does, that obey to his laws, that submit to his laws. Go ahead.
Come. And give consent to his commandments.
And give consent to his commandments, and that are okay with his commandments, that follow through with what he does, killing our people. Some of them of our own people are killing our own people for the Greeks in favor of them. Those were wicked men and wicked women. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
But his sons, Matthias and his sons, will still walk in the covenant of God, will still walk in the statutes, the laws, and the commandments. They will still do the Sabbath days. They won't do what the Greeks do. So they'll do the total opposite. Go ahead.
Verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
So they forbid that they would ever forget, be confused. Read that verse again.
Verse 21. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
So God forbid if they ever forget the laws, the statute commandments, if they ever forget the Sabbath days, the holy feast days, if they ever forget. Go ahead.
Verse 22. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Stop right there. So they would not hearken unto the king's word. So they would not submit to the king's word. So it's kind of like they won't do what the king told them to do. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
So of course, there came one of the sons that were just coming up on one of the king's officers that were all ready to give an abominable and unclean sacrifice unto the altar. So one of his sons just came up. Go ahead.
Verse 24. Which things when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
Stop right there. So when Matthias saw what this officer was about to do, he was angered. He was mad that they were about to defile the sacrifice again. They've been doing this for quite a while. So of course, when Matthias saw it, it was kind of he was angered. He was mad. Go ahead.
And his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
So of course, he was tired of seeing these men sacrifice another unclean animal onto the altar. So he took it upon himself to kill that officer. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
So not only did he kill these wicked men, But he pulled down these wicked sacrifices, these wicked altars. He took them down by force. So it's kind of like, it's like he was rebelling against this king's decree. So this is like the first act of it. This is the beginning of the Maccabees. This is the beginning of the resistance against King Antiochus' rule. Go ahead.
Hachaanakah. Hachaanakah. Verse 25. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phinehas did unto Zimri, the son of Salom.
Go ahead.
Verse 27. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me.
So after he killed these wicked men who was just about to defile the statues, the place of sacrifices again, he told the people who were still loyal to the statute and commandments, join me if you still want to turn to the laws, if you still want to bring your people back to God. Join upon me if you're tired of seeing this. Join upon me if you're tired of living under the oppression of the Greeks, under their rule. Go ahead.
Verse 28. So he and his sons fled to the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
So of course, after they did what they did, they can't stick around because the king's men would be there to kill Matthias and his sons. So they had to leave. And also, not only did they left, but those that agreed with Matthias, that like what he did, they joined with him as well. Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, sir.
I want to say this is heavy what you're bringing out, because a lot of people need to realize, like, when he decided that he was going to serve the Most High, they left everything in the city behind. A lot of us, when we realize when you come into the truth, you got to leave, a lot of stuff back in the world. You got to leave that stuff if you want to really serve the Most High.
That's
all right.
Kind of a con. That's a good example. Give that brother a hand. So those people who were still loyal to the statute, laws, and commandments, the children of Israel, gathered upon Matthias because they loved the fact that he was a man of God, that he didn't stand for it, that he wasn't afraid of the king and his authority. He wasn't afraid of what they would do to him. So they ran with him. They joined with him. They left the city with him. They left everything with him. Go ahead.
Verse 29. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there.
So of course they dwelt with him. So it says there that some of them that did sought after justice and judgment, they went down in the wilderness. They left with him into the wilderness. They left that city. Go ahead.
Verse 30. Both they and their children, their wives, and their cattle, because afflictions increased so upon them.
So of course they took their children, their wives, and their cattle. So they took all that was more precious with them and took it with them with Matthias. They left their houses behind. They left their cattle behind, but they took their children and they took their wives. But some of the cattle, of course, they took some of their cattle, but they left the rest. Go ahead.
Verse 31. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandments were gone down into the secret places into the wilderness.
So of course, some of those officers that were still alive had went back to the king and to let him know that this man, Matthias, had just killed most of our king's officers. They killed most of our priests. So now that the king Matthias had found out, now they had to flee. They had to go because they can't stick around for that. Of course, they did. The king's of his decree was to kill anyone who still were doing the Sabbath days, who were still doing the law, statute, commandments. So they found out about what Matthias did, and they told the king. Go ahead.
Verse 32. They pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
So some of those men, some of those women who were with Matthias were being overtaken by the men of King Antiochus, the Seleucids. The Seleucid came after them and were killing, some of them were killing the rest of them, but some of them were resisting against them. Go ahead.
Con. Verse 33. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
Read that verse again.
Con. Verse 33. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice.
Stop right there. So he said, and he said unto them, let them ye have done hither suffice. So what you have done is greatly enough. Go ahead.
Con. And do, come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live.
So the king, of course, they speak peaceable words, like it says in that verse, speak peaceable words, but they are deceit. He was telling some of them that you have killed those king's officers, all those crimes will be lifted off of you if you would just come back to me and still do what the Greeks do. Of course, these were lies. Of course, if they found out and they catch them, they would kill them.
Right.
So they were trying to draw them out.
Right.
Go ahead.
Con. Verse 34. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day.
Stop right there. So, of course, then the children of Israel, the men of Israel, being how smart they are, they knew that this was a lie. The king had always sent men there to collect tribute, but they would also kill the children of Israel as well. So they were lying. They knew they were liars. So they said, no, we will not come out. We will not submit ourselves to you. So they were smart. They were smart enough to know, like, no, you're going to kill us.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 35. So then they gave them a battle with all speed.
There you go. So these men, even with Mattathias, gave a battle with the Seleucid army. With some of their men, they battled with them. Go ahead.
Verse 36. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid.
So they never left the place that they hid. They stood their ground and fought back against the Seleucid army.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 37. But said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully.
So even though they die at the hands of the Seleucid army, they know what they did was righteous, and what they did to them was wrong.
Right.
They stood their ground because they cared about the laws and statutes and commandments. They stood their ground because they didn't want to submit to the Greeks. They didn't want to do what they did. They wanted to still do the Sabbath days. So they died with honor. But they died knowing that God would testify for them, and knowing that what the Seleucid army did was wrong, what the king did was wrong. Go ahead.
Verse 38. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and their children and their cattle.
Stop right there. So on the Sabbath day, they went to battle with them, with their children and their cattle with them. So they were still by their side and nearby. They were still nearby while still fighting them off. Go ahead.
And their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. Verse 39. Now when Matthias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore.
So of course, after that battle, they lost many of their men and many of their women, their children and the cattle. They mourned for them. So of course, it's kind of like they, gave service to them after that battle was over. Go ahead. Slack it. If I may stop right there real quick. Anybody want to give me an example? Anybody want to give a compare contrast to this?
Say it again. Compare and contrast to which one?
To what happened. To verse 38, it said, if I may say, lock, yeah.
You want me to read the verse?
Read it again.
Come. Verse 38. So they rose up against them in the battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives, their children, and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people.
Go ahead.
Verse 39. Now when Matthias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned them right sore.
So of course, what I was saying is a compare contrast to this. After they fought a battle with them, they lost many of their wives and children. So I would say, anybody want to get a comparison to this? Standing their ground against a heathen.
You definitely break one down.
if I could I give a when you said compare and contrast?
Khan.
What do you mean by that in terms of what?
Like another example of men standing up for the laws, but also standing for their people and dying by their side.
Based on the ones who died?
Khan.
If I could you read that part back?
Khan.
If you don't mind.
Khan, sir. Verse 38. Want me to start at 38, sir? Come. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 38. So they rose up against them in the battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and the children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. Verse 39. Now when Matthias and his friend understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore.
There you go.
Okay, read the part before that where he's telling them we're going to stand up on the Sabbath day.
Like, I don't think we got there yet.
Yeah. Read a verse or two just before that one.
Come, verse 37. But said, let us die, all in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us death wrongfully.
Yeah, and that's on the Sabbath day, right?
Concept.
Right there. Let heaven and earth testify that they was put to death wrongfully, right? Now, on one side, that might seem like it makes sense, right? It might seem like it makes sense that they died because they wanted to obey God's laws, correct? But what is God's law on this about the Sabbath day? Anybody? Come on, y'all dead in here tonight or something? What's going on with y'all? Y'all Jews, y'all ain't dead. I heard the Jewish man is dead, but I know the real Jews are not dead. What's going on with y'all? Come on, Yeshai. I mean, Yala.
It's like you said, what is kind of on the Sabbath? Well, I know that the Hachaanakah said the Sabbath was made of man.
Please, if somebody could pull that one for me. All right? If somebody could pull that one.
What do you want?
Okay, come.
All right, anybody have it yet? Anybody who have it, can just pull it real quick and read. All right, I ain't gonna take too much of your time, Yeshai. You'll give Yeshai a hand, brother. Yeshai is conducting this thing like a honorable veteran up in here. Yeah, I mean, he taking this thing head on. You got it?
It's the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 27. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath.
Read that one more time.
Mark chapter 2, verse 27. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not for the Salakia, and not man for the Sabbath.
That's right. If I could, brother. Right? What does that mean? Anybody? The Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. What does that one mean?
So it means that that we're free to do the things that we please to do on the Sabbath, and we're not bound to what people think we're supposed to be doing on the Sabbath, like a handcuff type deal.
Okay, anybody else? Go ahead.
Salaya, so is it basically, you know how like when we first come into the truth and we hear how everybody else be celebrating the Sabbath, and basically you can't cut the lights on because that's like kindling the fire. What we was taught how the Jewish man celebrate the Sabbath, right? But it's in contrast to that, like it's not a hindrance. Because growing up, I used to couldn't stand going to the Sabbath because I knew like I can't eat, I can't do a lot of stuff. But coming into the truth, you realize that that's not how the Sabbath is.
That's right. So let me ask you, based on that, are you saying now on the Sabbath day you're able to do things that common sense would tell you could do? Right? Anybody else? Anybody else want to try? You right?
Yes, if I can give you an example right quick, sir. It's like if we work for somebody like an employer and versus his employee, he's not supposed to make us work on a Saturday, on a Sabbath. That day was for us. But sometimes, us being in captivity, it happens. So like I said.
Sir, if I may. Sir, if I may. When it says the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, the Sabbath was made to serve us. We shouldn't be a servant because what the The Jewish man tries to make us think is that we become a slave on the Sabbath, but we, when it says the Sabbath was made for us, the Sabbath was made designed to serve us.
That one. So you're saying the Sabbath was made to be a servant to man, not man to be a servant on the Sabbath. I'll take that. Any sisters have an answer? You all want to take a shot? You'll take the other shot. I hear there are some strong over there, some whiskey and some Jack. You all will take a shot at that one. All right. So Yeshaya. So basically, the Sabbath was made for man to serve man. To serve man in the best way possible, to give man the best advantage possible. Sometimes you might just want to go sleep on the Sabbath. Sometimes you might want to go fishing. You might want to change the oil in your car. You might want to tie fire to that fine woman that you married in your bed. You get the point? The Sabbath was made to serve you, to benefit you, not you serving somebody else on the Sabbath to your detriment. So now read that part again where they said that they slay us with our innocency.
Maccabees chapter 2, verse 37. But said, let us die in all our innocency.
Said let us do what?
Die.
Let us what?
Die.
Let me tell you something. If you have a leader that tells you, let us die, you're following the wrong person.
Right.
You're following the wrong person. Precept. Yeshaya, come on. I know you got it. What precept I want? You could paraphrase it. If he said, let us die, what's the precept in the Bible that's against let us die?
Murder, sir.
That's good. That's a good one. I'll take that. Anybody else? Come on.
So like I said, Joshua said, choose life.
The Lord said, choose life this day. There's another one. Come on, cousin. There's another one.
So like I said, a dead lion. A living dog is better than a dead. I'm getting back to it.
No, you got a living dog is better than a dead lion. I'll take that one. That one too. All of those are excellent. I'm gonna give you it for time's sake. The Bible said God is a God of the living and not the dead. So a man can't tell you, hey, let us die. And listen, he's such a punk in there. And I know to the naked eye it might seem honorable, but he's such a punk. He lays down because he does not want to fight the heathen. And brother, you have to want to fight the heathen. The Jewish man today got laid flat on a beach in Australia. And some non-Jewish man had to go fight the heathen. Because they was ducking behind cars. They was trying to bury their head in the sand like an ostrich. While some men with a bolt action rifle. You know how much seconds it takes to pop and reload and nobody run on him? They chose to lay down, Ark. The report said the police seemed to flee at the sound of gunfire. Who's leading them? We don't choose to die, brother. We choose to live. And if we die trying to live, then that's righteous. That's glorious. Now, we raised different in the Israelite school of UPK. We never choose to die. We never choose to die at all. We choose life. And sometimes that might mean you die. That might mean we done killed somebody before. Who did we kill before? Who did we all kill before? The old man and the old woman. It ain't nothing to do with again. We don't choose to die. Them fools who died there, what's their names? Anybody know their names? Young brother. Trooper Shakad. What's the names of the guys who said they're gonna what they said we'll choose to die honorably in the Shabbat Shalom. What's their names? You might have forgotten. I don't know. No, these is the dudes these is the dudes in the Apocrypha for the Hachaanakah. Anybody know their names? You sure you don't know their names? They didn't say their names in there. You sure there's no record of their names? So whose name do you know in this story? Why? Because he chose to fight. We don't know the names of these dead fools, Ark. And that's a reason we don't know their names. Because nobody should follow those men. You should never lay down. You fight all the way to the end, Ark. God is a God of war. Those men did not follow Mattathias. Mattathias said, who is zealous of the law? Read that part for me. Did we get there yet? Go ahead. You need the mic?
That was in verse 27.
27. We passed it already? Read that one more time, please, brother. Okay, no sweat.
Come. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 27. And Matthias cried throughout the city a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law.
Say it again.
Whosoever is zealous of the law.
Say it one more time.
Whosoever is zealous of the law.
Go ahead.
And maintaineth the covenant.
And do what?
Maintaineth the covenant.
Come on, man. Go ahead.
Let him follow me.
Let him do what?
Follow me.
Let him do what?
Follow me.
Matthias went through the city. It said he cried throughout the city, which means he had to walk around, said, niggas, follow me. Right. If you want to obey God, follow me, and walk around all over the place like a madman. What did this group say? We're going to follow the law on our own and go somewhere else, like your everyday fake Israelite and your Christian Israelite who don't want to follow command in Johanna. Right. He is saying, follow me. Moses give orders. The Lord always sends a man to give orders, one man to follow. Whether it was Adam, it was Noah, whether it was who else we got? Moses, Joshua, is always one to follow. In this story here, in this part of our history, Matthias was the one to follow. They should have followed him. But whoever was in charge of that group wanted vain glory, wanted to go be a sacrifice on the Sabbath like an idiot, like a fool. Like imagine you have kids and you leave your kids with somebody for a babysitter or to watch over them for a few hours, and there's a gas leak in the house. And it's the Sabbath day. And the idiot says, well, it's the Sabbath, so I can't turn the door or call the police. We'll just die on the Sabbath. And everybody will know that we was holy because we did no work on the Sabbath. What would you want to do to that person for your child? You'll want to go all the way off with them for that child because, nigga, you couldn't break a window, run out the house to save this baby. That's what they did with the Lord's people, Ark. They went into the wilderness and accepted death by the hands of the uncircumcised. David was a shepherd's boy and would not accept that, Ark. And you bet you Israelites in here, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you better not accept it at the hands of no heathen or Israelite. You better serve the Lord in truth and in spirit. And you're only going to learn that by following the orders of command in Johanna, who follows Christ, who follows the Most High power. You understand? Keep reading from where you was at, brother.
Ready for 39, sir?
We are at
39. No, 40. We're at 40. 40. All right. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 40. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth.
They know.
Go ahead, brother.
So they know that if we would have done what we did, they would have killed us all quickly. So this is another example that this is like, don't show your weakness, because if we wouldn't have not done what they did, the Greeks would have came and just killed us again.
Let me ask you something, Yeshua. You said something so heavy. This showed their weakness. What was the weakness?
That.
And this is a question for anybody, but let me start with Yeshua. What was the weakness? When you said that was very heavy what you said, it was right. When you said they showed their weakness, what was their weakness?
That they were afraid.
They were afraid. I'll take that, but no, because they went down somewhere else into the wilderness somewhere. You gotta have some courage to go do something. What was their weakness? Anybody knows? Young brother, the truth. You wanna come closer to the mic? However, they have it hooked up. I don't think he could stretch it.
They didn't stand up and fight for the Lord.
So what was their weakness?
They like brotherhood.
You want it. That's close. That's close, but you're almost there.
So like I said, I want to say faith.
You close too. Anybody else? Go ahead, come on, sis. Come on, Ayan. Come on. I can pull a precept book, sis. I know you got a precept book somewhere. There's another one? Oh, Most High in Christ.
Is it that they listened to the wrong man?
Come on, you right on it there. You right on it. Say it another way. They listened to the wrong man.
They followed the wrong leader.
They did not follow the right man.
Yeah.
That was their weakness. Give her a hand. They did not follow the right man. And that's a weakness, Ark. It's a weakness that's bred into us from the Christian church. Many of us grew up hating our fathers, right? Why? You ever ask yourself why you hate your father? He ain't did shit to you, but make you.
Right.
There's a system in place to make sure you never follow the right person, Ark. And it's taught to you from very, very young. They did not follow the right person. And they died because of it. Joy Morgan did not follow the right person. And she's dead because of it, Ark. So many more people did not follow. There's some young brother who was with what's the other group that wear the curtains? Who did Sakari from? Who GMS? There was some old GMS brother down there in Virginia. He called himself having multiple wives. One of the women had a son from another marriage before. He said the boy was too soft. He was feminine. Anybody knows what this fool did to that boy? Anybody knows? Come on, Bukwash.
He killed him.
Say it again.
He killed him.
Anybody knows? You know why? Go ahead. No sweat, I'm telling you. He said the boy was too soft, and the Bible says, an effeminate shall not inherit the kingdom. So he plotted with the other wives, and they put that boy to death. You could pull the story up on the news. It's an ABC and I think CBS. This happened like, I want to say 2013 or 14. That little boy died because they did not follow the right man. What do you know about young boys 6, 7, 8 years old? What do you know about young boys around that age? They're the same as girls. They're children. They're gonna cry when they hit their knee. They're gonna fuss and fight over eating broccoli. That doesn't mean they're soft. That means they're a child. And if you was following the right man, you would have known how to raise that boy up. The ISUPK, we build men. You understand? We build men up in here. That's what we do. If he was following the right man, we'd have built that boy. That boy would have been 15. I ain't even gonna put your business up. But Yeshaya, he would have been around your age, Ark. And leading camps just like you. And give Yeshaya another hand, brother. And what's the other brother's name? Mayak. Stand up, Mayak. This is young, brother. This is real YNs up in here, Ark. And they're striving in life because they follow the right man. You get the point? Like there's a weakness that exists in Israel. We always follow the wrong person because we don't know what the right person looks like. John the Baptist and his men questioned Christ. Should we follow you or find another? Nigga, what is we talking about? You're healing the blind. You're healing the sick. You're walking on water, turning water into wine. Who the fuck could question that shit? Only somebody who is weak. They're very, very weak, Ark. Like that one who was bending over for his woman to go up inside him, talking about he made something disappear. You all know about that. He's a very weak man. And he, as you rightfully said, they exposed their weakness, Ark. And they died down there. They did not die righteously, brother. The Lord was angry about that, Ark. He was very angry about it. You are not allowed to maintain your weakness because you do not want to follow the man who the Lord put in charge. You're not allowed to do that thing. That thing cannot ever, ever happen to you in here. All right, everybody understand? You can keep going on.
And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will not quickly root us out of the earth.
There you go. Hey, keep on going. We're going to this last verse, verse 41. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 41. Mike. Come. Verse 41. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places.
So they said, the next time someone comes into battle with us, we shall battle. They shall battle them against them. but neither will they die like they did in the secret place. They won't die like what the men did when they went out away from the Greeks and they went to battle with them in the wilderness. They won't die like them. So they made an example of them. If we're going to battle,
that's the always drive. How did they die? I'm asking, how did they die? The ones that died in the wilderness, how did they die?
they died in shame, sir.
They died in shame, but like even they die fighting.
They died and lost their family in the process.
They gave their lives up. Imagine the type of man you have to be to watch the Greeks coming. Your wife and your children is there, and your brother and his and your sister is there. And you don't swing. You don't throw a stone. You just sit there and let them do it. You understand? That's how they die. That's the visual you have to have in your mind about. Right. Because Christianity, remember, they on Storm Roof went in there. They did not fight him out. They let him in there. And they prayed while he executed them. We ought not to do that. Right. We ought not to do that at all. We ought to fight. You understand that? You better go watch that footage today. Was it Bondi Beach? Bondi Beach in Australia, brother. It was docking and hiding while men was reloading a bolt action rifle. Nobody decided, I'm going to risk my life for the rest of you. But an Arab who don't even worship their God. Right. You understand? We cannot be like that. We cannot be like that. Listen now, you train your woman, you train your children. Even in here, a sister is not allowed for a man to take advantage of. That's right. You train your children. Run, scream, yell, tell. Right. Let them rape a corpse. You are not allowed to give in because somebody punched you down and you are doing something to you. You fight and scrape and strap and bite and do everything until the end. Go to the end. That's fine. Right. But you are not allowed to lay down and let them violate you. Because guess what happens? If you survive, brother, you will never survive. Right. You have to walk around with the memory of it. You can walk around with the memory of coming out bad after a fight, but you can tell a story. So, brother, to lay down and you hope that they have mercy and they don't have mercy, then to live after that, you're going to be on drugs. You're going to be an alcoholic. You're going to have to self-medicate because you don't compromise yourself. You can't do that. That's impossible to do. Go ahead, brother.
Another example, like survival guilt, PTSD.
That's right. That's right. It's that PTSD you do not want. There's the only cure for that is to come into the truth and totally change your life and come brand new. You gotta get all don't even go through that. Just come into the truth. Right. Don't even suffer that violation. Just come in here. You don't know how to fight. There's many brothers and sisters in here that know how to fight. Know how to fight spiritually, emotionally, verbally, and physically. We know how to do it. We've been trained how to do it because we follow the right man. You understand? And I'm about to tell you, they know our names. They know all our names. You get the point? The other ones, they don't know their names. You see them get beat up on the TV, thrown in jail. The demon said, this one I know, that one I know, but who are you? You understand? You have to fight, brother. Them who died on that Sabbath day, that was an example of what not to do and who to never fall. All right, Sloppy, go ahead, brother. You drop it.
We're going to read this last verse, verse 42.
Verse 42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
So these men came. They were a company of Assyrians. So they were very loyal to the law, statutes, and commandments. And they devoted themselves to the laws. They would die for the law, for the statute commandments. They would die for the holy days. They would die for the people. So, as like they were saying, these were like rebels they came to support Mattathias. Yep.
What verse we had? It's like
no, that was verse 42.
Come on. Can you read?
So read one last verse, 43. Under there.
Come. First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 43. And also all that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them.
So all those that fled persecution, all those that rejected the king's commandments, the king's commandment to celebrate these idols, the worship gods, to go sin, to be in the streets, to hang naked babies, circumcised babies on the trees. Some of them were persecuted and joined up with these what they say. Read verse 42 again.
42. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
So they joined up with these men to fight against the Seleucid army, to fight against their decree, against their evil. So they were like, at that time, these were the beginning of Maccabees, was the beginning of a resistance against the Seleucid army, against the king.
Listen, you're trying to have me there too. Like they witnessed that how many brothers and how many be able to run the same. So imagine seeing that and then telling yourself, it's the Sabbath day, so we ain't gonna fight.
Right.
No. So what about that baby? Who's gonna fight for the next week?
No.
You were so right in saying they exposed their weakness. That should be on a t-shirt. Never expose any weakness or no weakness. You can't have that. That was all right. You watch them babies getting half that. And now it comes to the point where it's a flashpoint. It's do or die. And you decide to die. You don't decide to do. Your choice is not to do. You want to die. Never be like that.
And they go. And with that, we're going to end the class and pass it over to the highest ranking man. Officer Yura. Go ahead.
Let me see it on camera.
You want to see you?
Yeah, I think I'm a little. Oh, up to it. Let's give Officer Yasha another hand. Officer Yasha, first class, did an excellent job.
Yeah.
The security announcements. We are the ISUK out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Hachaanakah. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves to the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10. It means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'ishua. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for the priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. So we know that Hachaanakah is for the next 8 days. And then we have the Feast of Purim is in March. So can you give me the exact date? Look on that calendar right there. The last one at the bottom. What's the Feast of Purim? What date?
March, Tuesday, 3rd, and March 26th.
March 26th, you said?
Tuesday, 3rd, 2026.
Okay, so March the 3rd, Tuesday, 2026, and it's 2 days, so it's probably March 3rd and the 4th. It's for 2 days. Okay, so it's on March 2nd and March 3rd, because we know that feast is for 2 days. I'm coming. And Passover, the 4th? Okay, April 4th. Passover is April 4th, Saturday, April 4th. All right? Reminder, Akim Akwathin to check on social media such as isbk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for the ISBK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, let's get one courtesy suit to the teacher. All the Akim Amaya. Come on. Come on. Come on. Men of Israel, let's get one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, I'm out of Shabbat. I'm Barak. Yeah. Yahumatah, Sar, which means return. Sisters, I'm which means you stand the water. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, I'm out of Shabbat. I'm Barak. Yeah. Yahumatah, class is missed.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West.